It's going to be another good one today, I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now, buckle up, man. Oh, shit. So much to talk about, so much to nerd out about. Holy. All right, let's do it. Welcome back to the Den of Nerds. I am Josh, and we have a great show for you today on a Thursday. As always, ton of stuff going on in the nerdy world. Today, we must discuss the Fantastic Four ticket sales numbers because we're finally starting to get some actual data. It looks real good. So we're going to talk about it. What the hell happened? Why did nobody watch Thunderbolts? Why is the Fantastic Four going to maybe make what Thunderbolts made in like 5 days? What is this world? We're going to break it down. We'll get into it. There's some actual number here to suggest that Fantastic Four is going to be fucking huge. We spoke yesterday about the different apps crashing, a lot of ticket sales, showing, selling out, etc., etc. But I said yesterday, I was like, dude, we need data, though. We need numbers. We got some numbers, and they're looking crazy. So we're going to talk about that. I'm a little vexed. You know, rarely get to use that word vexed. I'm vexed. This is a vexing situation. So we'll get into it. We'll break it down. You know what else I'm fucking vexed about? A white Black Panther. What? A white Black Panther. You know the meme with Ryan Gosling? Ryan Gosling as Black Panther. It's been a big meme for years and years and years. I don't fully understand where that even comes from. But it seems like Christopher Priest saw that meme and was like, hold my fucking beer, because you're actually getting a white Black Panther. T'Challa has an Aryan son, and he looks white. It's crazy. So I want to break it down for you. I want to talk about the fan reaction. We have an article from comicbook.com. I also want to talk to you briefly about the history of Christopher Priest. This is not a super uncommon thing for Christopher Priest. Christopher Priest created the white brother to T'Challa that became the White Wolf. Christopher Priest also had a dude from Harlem that was half Jewish and half black that took over the Black Panther mantle for a bit in comics as well. So Christopher Priest is actually not shy about this kind of situation and talks a lot about identity, race, differences, things like that caked into a lot of his stuff. But this is pretty crazy. You know what I mean? Like, this is pretty wild. So we'll talk about it. We'll break it down. How are the fans reacting? What the hell? We'll get into it. Also wanted to talk a little bit more today about the Dave Filoni Carrie Beck story yesterday. So this dropped at the end of the show yesterday as we were going over it. And I didn't really think too much of it. You know, we read the article, we read the speculation out there. However, since that came out, a lot of people did latch onto it. There were a lot of discussions that I saw within the fandom yesterday on social media. And I think the big question is, like, are changes coming to Star Wars, or is this just more of the same? And so we'll approach the subject and the idea of Carrie Beck and Dave Filoni being co-presidents of the company within the scope of some of the other conversations we've had over the past couple of months, like the civil war within Lucasfilm, the success of Andor. Does that change things now as Dave gets ready to do Ahsoka Season 2? You can sort of see a battle for the heart and soul of Star Wars taking place. And so I find that to be pretty interesting, so we'll touch on that. Later on in the show, I want to just talk video games a little bit. Man, I'll tell you, DC has been doing great. You know, we've spoken about this a little bit here, a little bit there. DC Comics doing really well. Superman seems to be doing well. And DC definitely in a good direction. And maybe even a better direction than Marvel in some ways, particularly the comics. But we got to be real about one thing, dude. DC is getting demolished in the realm of video games. Marvel announced another video game that blew people away yesterday. A very, very popular developer that makes fighting games took the Marvel IP and made a 2D fighter game that, from what I saw yesterday on social media, has absolutely floored people. They're shocked by it. There's some drama there, but by and large, it's another example of like Marvel games really doing some great work and potentially actually, I don't know, between Marvel Comics, Marvel Animation, and Marvel Studios, I almost feel like Marvel Games is the one that is having the most success right now. Of course, Marvel Rivals is absolutely huge. They have a lot of other games coming out. There's that brawler that looks like the Ninja Turtle game from back in the day. I'm excited about that. And there's even more, which I'll be able to talk more about tomorrow. But I do want to touch on that a little bit later on in the show. So that's what's on the agenda for today. I do want to take you through some show notes, what to expect, what you should be looking out for. Tonight at 8 p.m., I am playing Warhammer on stream. I know, it's crazy. A lot of people have asked for it. In fact, everybody in chat's clamoring for it. You know, everybody wants more Warhammer. Oh, it's so cool. I'm so happy that you guys are so interested. So tonight, we're going to finally do it. I'm going to play a Warhammer game on TTS. Probably not going to play the whole game, but I'll set it up. I'll show you like how the game goes, talk about my army, some of the decisions I'm making. We'll do that tonight at 8 p.m. I'm actually looking forward to it, man. Yeah, with the new data slates. Yep. New data slates, new mission packs, new everything. And man, I'm so excited for my Dark Angels. Whoo, girl. It's going to be a good night. So I'm looking forward to that. That'll be tonight at 8 p.m. Here's something for tomorrow, though. Tomorrow, there will not be a regular stream at 11 a.m. And I know that's sad. Sad move there. However, instead, we're going to bring back the Nerdy News Rundown. So tomorrow, I will bring back the Nerdy News Rundown. That'll publish to the regular Den of Nerds channel, probably around noon or 1. My goal is just to wake up tomorrow, and my whole morning is just focused on making the Nerdy News Rundown episode really good. That is going to recap a lot of the news from the week and condensed, produced form. So if there's anything you missed out over the week, tomorrow's show will be the way to catch up for that. However, we are streaming tomorrow, and we're streaming for the Summer Games Fest. That presentation will begin at around 5 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll probably try to be live like 4:30, 4:45. And then we will live react to the Summer Game Fest. And the trailer for the game that I'm NDA'd about will drop tomorrow evening. And then once that trailer drops, the NDA's over. I can talk all about it. So I'll talk about it on stream. I'm also going to cut a video for that on Saturday because I really like the game. Thought it was really cool. So that's what's on the agenda for tomorrow. No stream at 11. That's probably going to remain a thing. I'm probably not going to stream on Fridays much anymore, or at least not at 11. You'll get NNR. And then at 4:30, 4:45, we will stream and we will just react to the Summer Game Fest. So if you're into gaming, man, should be a fun time tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. It's been a big week for gaming. They've released a bunch of stuff. There was an Unreal thing where they showed Witcher 4. Last night was the Sony thing. Kind of sucks, like no Insomnia game stuff. But this fighting game lit people up. A couple other cool things revealed yesterday, like the James Bond game and whatnot. And then I assume we'll have some surprises for the Summer Game Fest tomorrow. So if you're a gamer, man, plenty of cool, exciting stuff going on out there for the games. And I think that's pretty much it, guys. I think that's all of the show notes. That's all you got to know about. Of course, we'll break into Q&A later today, as we always do. And then I'm looking forward to seeing some of you guys at 8. I have a busy day ahead of me, but I'm really looking forward to some Warhammer later. So that should be cool. That should be fun. Okay, let's get into the news topics today, and let's start with the Fantastic Four. Now, I probably don't have to tell many of you this, but the current state of Marvel, a little bit worrisome, and I think a lot of people, including myself, after the performance of Thunderbolts, which looks to lose Disney close to $100 million. A lot of us got a little worried about Fantastic Four. You know, as I've been bringing up more and more, and of course, I made the bet so that I could bring it up all the time. It's just a fun little story bit, piece of the content. I made a bet with Brandon Davis for $500, and I bet him that I thought the Fantastic Four movie would make more money than the Superman movie, okay? However, after Thunderbolts, I got a little nervous about that, and I think a lot of people got nervous about that. Because it seemed like the fatigue for Marvel was more of a factor than maybe we first anticipated, right? That coupled with, you know, the poor performance of the Daredevil show and then the delay of Doomsday and then no SDCC Hall H this year. It's like you started to think like, dude, are they putting Fantastic Four out to die? Like, what's happening here? That narrative began to shift this week when tickets officially went on sale. Okay, so this is Thursday at the time of doing this live with you guys. So if you're listening on the podcast feed or watching on the replay, as of Thursday, we had the ticket sales and the new trailer launch on Wednesday, and there was some encouraging data yesterday. Okay, so for instance, there were a lot of crashing on the different apps and websites. This happened on Regal. I believe it did actually happen on Fandango. I didn't think that it did, but it did. AMC app was crashing. A lot of members of our community were having trouble securing tickets if they lived in a big market, big cities, et cetera, et cetera. So we saw a lot of that happening yesterday, but it's kind of anecdotal, right? Like, it's good to hear, but at the same time, like, that's not enough for me to be like, oh, okay, now we're getting a sense of where this thing is going. So it was an encouraging thing, but we really did not know. Well, fast forward to today, right now, in this moment, I'm happy to report we've got some actual data here, and I'm getting $500, man. Check this out. Fandango reports, isn't this fantastic? Marvel's The Fantastic Four First Steps sold more tickets in its first day than any other film this year. Do you have your tickets yet? Now, that is pretty crazy. What's the biggest movie of the year so far? I think it's Minecraft. What's the biggest opening of the year so far? Might be Lilo and Stitch. So what this is saying here is a great little piece of data here. According to Fandango, this thing sold more than a movie that almost made $1 billion off Chicken Jockey, and it sold more tickets for opening day than the Lilo and Stitch movie, which is tearing it up. I mean, let's be real. Lilo and Stitch is so successful right now that a lot of us were looking at that, and then we were looking at Thunderbolts, and we're just like, damn, like, that is crazy. Like, the fact that it almost made Thunderbolts' whole theatrical run in its opening weekend, we were like, something's going on, man. This is not that chill. Okay, so at the very least, what this means, and it sort of just solidifies what we talked about yesterday, this is not a Thunderbolt situation. This is not a Captain America Brave New World situation. And it's like, woo! Thank fucking God. I was beginning to get a little nervous. I think some of you guys were beginning to get a little nervous as well. But there's even more data here. There's some encouraging stuff, which, by the way, I'm hoping there's even more data by the time I do the Nerdy News Rundown tomorrow, because I'll probably go over this again in a more, produced, condensed way tomorrow. So check this out. This is Luis Fernando, who we talk about a lot on the show. He does a lot of box office analysis. I think he's pretty good. And it's not only on Fandango. I can tell you that from all pre-sales kickoffs I've followed at the U.S. box office, the Fantastic Four First Steps is one of the strongest as far as comic book movies are concerned. The first 24 hours were 1.2 times ahead of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. That's really cool, but we'll unpack that a little bit more. And just slightly under Thor Love and Thunders, which I believe opened at 300. Let me see here. 303.2, 144 domestic, and 159.2 million global to make up that 303. Okay, so that's pretty crazy. So slightly under Thor 4, slightly above Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. What's good news about that? Both those movies made a shit ton more money than Thunderbolts, the Marvels, like that whole lot of films that actually lost money, right? Love and Thunder probably didn't deserve to make that much money. I think, frankly, that happened at a time when the fans were still, like, loving Marvel and not, what's the word here? I don't think that some of the negativity from Marvel overall had really set in. And I actually think it's a little bit of the Kenobi effect, where Kenobi's the largest show as far as who it reached for Disney Plus on Star Wars, but it was, I think, received very poorly, and so that big impression actually negative affected every show that came after that. And that's kind of the way I feel about Love and Thunder. Like, Love and Thunder was bad, in my opinion, but I think the real problem was it broke the fans for, like, the next few movies, which was like, ugh. Anyway, and the Fantastic Four has the advantage of peak summer release slot, which allows for stronger walk-ups than Guardians of the Galaxy 3, for instance, if word of mouth is strong. And I think that's a good point. Obviously, always important to keep in mind that this is just the first day. Traditionally, fanboy heavy and pre-sales for MCU's comic movies have become more and more front-loaded as years go by, and we are 50 days away from release. Quite a challenging big window to keep pre-sales momentum as it is now. So marketing team will need to keep the excitement up. But for all the doom and gloom post Cap 4 and Thunderbolts, a pre-release kickoff this strong reflects what the first trailer's viewership had already shown. The anticipation for this particular MCU film is real and incomparable to the two previous installments. Comic book movie fatigue, anyone. So interesting, you know? A lot to be said for this, but let's look back at the numbers. Let's get a little bit more specific here with our analysis. So 1.2 ahead of Guardians of the Galaxy 3 seems really good. However, you have to remember that Guardians of the Galaxy 3 came in actually lower than expectations. It had kind of a soft first weekend, and I would imagine its pre-sales must have been soft too. And remember, this is a film that comes out after Love and Thunder and after Quantumania. And classically, what happened with Guardians Volume 3 was a lower weekend and then incredible legs into the second weekend, incredible legs into the third weekend. It was almost like because of Quantumania and maybe Love and Thunder, a lot of fans were not willing to just go check it out first day, but the word of mouth was really strong. And it's almost like a whole bunch of Marvel fans were like, oh no, this one's actually so much better than those other ones. Like, you should really see this. And that worked. People weren't so jaded that they didn't listen to word of mouth, and they did end up going. So 1.2 ahead of Guardians is good, but it's not incredible. I agree with Luis that it's in a better spot to get better walk-up business, but it also has stronger competition around it. Of course, Superman will still be going on into its third week. I think a week or two later, the Jurassic movie comes out? Or does the Jurassic movie come out before all of them? Chat, that's actually really important. Somebody help me out there. Let me know. When does the Jurassic movie come out? Is it before all of these or after? Oh, it's before. Then that's even better. Oh, man, that's great. That means that it will have a lack of emerging competition from big films for probably several weeks. So it has a good chance to have legs for a good bit of time, okay, in the summer. So I think that's good. Being slightly under Love and Thunder is pretty impressive. Love and Thunder, though, had major success in the international markets. And so far, China has not even accepted Fantastic Four. I think it's like 5 weeks away, or maybe more. Maybe it's like 5 or 6 weeks away. And China has not approved this shit. Now, obviously, there's tension between the United States and China right now, so maybe that will affect this thing. But we also know, looking at all the Marvel movies over the last couple of years, the international box office for a lot of these things has not exactly been there the same way that it was before. Now, strangely, if you look at the Venom movies and some other movies too, there's other franchises that operate this way, like the Fantastic Fast and Furious, rather, that franchise. And you look at the Venom franchise, Venom 3 was heavily lifted by international box office. It did not do that great domestic. But international box office, people just love Tom Hardy, love the Venom thing. You know, like they just appreciate it more. For whatever reason, it did better in international markets. That really lifted up the box office of Venom 3. And it's been a big part of the Venom franchise as well. So it's an interesting question. Will this buck the trend of international audiences being a little fatigued? Is it possible that the international audience is just not as interested in Sam Wilson as Captain America? It's just not as interested in a B-level Thunderbolts movie? Because frankly, you know, Thunderbolts is a little bit about depression, feelings, emotion. It has a nuanced thing that it's trying to accomplish. And, you know, frankly, I don't know that perfectly literally translates into other languages. So there could be a barrier to like understanding, appreciating it. It could also just be that, you know, big time stars and big time characters just hold more cachet in the international markets. I don't know. But if this film, I guess what I'm trying to say is this. If this movie can buck that trend and crush it in the international markets, This data here would suggest it's going to do very well domestically. And so if it has a 1-2 punch there, we could be looking at another billion-dollar Marvel movie. You know, at the very least, I think you're probably looking at easily at this point getting to 6, 7. You know, depending on legs, easily getting to 8, which we all said just a couple of weeks ago would be great. That's double. That's combining Captain America and Thunderbolts. Do you know what I'm saying? So, like, all of a sudden, we went from a pretty worst-case scenario, like a lot of trepidation, a lot of fear, to it just simply being the case, and this is just in the data, the bigger brands within Marvel is proving to be where the attention is, and it's proving to be the way to navigate this comic book movie fatigue space. And, you know, not to like toot my own horn, but toot fucking toot. I've kind of been preaching that for a while. Like, I love the Thunderbolts movie, dude. I love that movie, and I want that same quality. I don't know that Thunderbolts and that kind of a film is the way out of the situation that Marvel is currently in. I think you need to go spectacle. I think you need to lean on your bigger characters, your bigger franchises here, potentially even bigger actors. And if you think about, chat, if you think about some of the rumors we've heard about X-Men and some of the people they're approaching, I mean, dude, if they get like a Daniel Day-Lewis or something, like it seems like their sights are almost set on these same things. So this is really encouraging news. And frankly, it's so encouraging that, like, if I was Superman, I'd be a little bit nervous here because, I mean, I think the economy's a little tight. I think there's fatigue in the genre. I think Superman specifically has never actually been as popular as maybe people think. And so there is reason to worry here. I mean, imagine if you were dropping your, because, you know, there's another side to this, which we've also been addressing and talking about. Warner Brothers is in a tough spot, man. Warner Brothers lost $11 billion in 2024. They are not in the position that Disney is in. Okay? Disney could actually stomach Fantastic Four losing money. The worst case scenario for Fantastic Four, Disney would have been fine. I mean, it doesn't look good and they wouldn't have been happy, but they would seriously not be in trouble at all. Like, that's wild to admit, but that's the truth. Warner Brothers does not have that luxury. Warner Brothers needs Superman to at least perform enough to justify more, to say that we can make more money over 10 years with, you know, more of this kind of stuff. I don't even know that it needs to be specifically profitable. It needs to sort of prove that there's profitability and a lot more money to be made by doing the DCU. That's what it ultimately needs to prove. If I were them, okay, like, I'm just being real. If I were them and the biggest pre-ticket sale thing of the year is a movie that comes out 2 weeks after mine and we haven't even sold tickets yet, I'd be a little nervous, dude. This could be some weird 4D chess from Kevin. I'm not really sure. Maybe it wasn't as intentional as I'm making it out to be, but I think the net effect is the same. Like, I think Warner Brothers is not pumped about what they're seeing going on here. But then again, like, we'll see. You know, the Superman tickets have to go on sale soon. They eventually have to get pre-sales going there. Will it just be the fact that Superman eclipses Fantastic Four's numbers? Am I going to go back to being nervous about it? Like, we shall see. But, yeah, these numbers are pretty encouraging. So you're looking at around 150 million domestic opener, just based on these numbers. We'll see. You know, the projections will probably swing. They'll probably say, like, anywhere from 110 to 150 or something, right? And that's great. Like, that would be absolutely incredible. And it really depends on the international markets. Dude, if this thing crushes in the international markets, like, you could be looking at a $300+ million opening weekend. We haven't heard that shit when it comes to a Marvel movie for a while. Probably Deadpool, right? And then before that, it was a while. Well, I guess Love and Thunder. Tricky, man. Tricky. So, just wanted to go over the numbers just a little bit more with you because, as I said yesterday, we were going to get more data, more analysis of all of this. I got to tell you, I think that is very encouraging. So, You know, we don't have to panic. Seems like there's plenty of juice in the Marvel brand left. Maybe let's just focus on the big characters. You know what I mean? Like, maybe let's just focus on the big characters, Kevin, and then maybe we'll be okay. So I'm sure you got questions, comments. We will talk about that when we get into the Q and the A. Let me take a little sip of my coffee here because we're about to talk about White Black Panther. What? What the hell is a White Black Panther anyway? Okay, chat, let's do it. Let's get into this. The internet was shaken yesterday when the longtime meme of Ryan Gosling being cast as the new Black Panther appeared to become a reality. What the actual F is going on? It's official. It's official from Marvel Comics. First appearance of Ketema. I can't pronounce anything. I cannot even pronounce. I think it's Ketema. A Caucasian son. That means white. A Caucasian son of T'Challa. Story by Christopher Priest. Art by Joe Quesada. And as the immortal Thor lawyer says here, bro, what the fuck, in all caps. Yeah, this made some fucking waves yesterday on the internet. What am I talking about? Let's get into this article here on comicbook.com. We'll see what they have to say about it, and then I'll give you some feedback as well. Let me get this pulled over here just a little bit here. Okay, here we go. Black Panther's son is revealed after T'Challa's death, and it's a shocker. A new Black Panther has stepped up after the death of T'Challa. Readers return to the world of Marvel Knights for The World to Come, a 6-issue limited series by former Marvel Comics editor-in-chief Joe Quesada and writer Christopher Priest. These guys are fucking legends, by the way. The Marvel Knights line was a boon for the publisher when it debuted in 1998, and the two of its architects are back for Marvel Knights The World to Come. The series focuses on Black Panther and Wakanda jumping back and forth through time to slowly reveal how T'Challa's death kicks off our chain of events. But with T'Challa gone, someone else has to step into the role of leading Wakanda. But fans may not be ready for the face they see under the mask. Warning, spoilers for Marvel Knights The World to Come #1. Marvel Knights The World to Come #1 comes from the creative team of Joe Quesada, Christopher Priest, Richard Isanove, Richard Starkings, and Comic Crafts Tyler Smith. Much of the conflict takes place in the Republic of Wakanda 8 years before The World to Come. An older T'Challa is engaged in a tribal challenge against his son, Ketema, to decide who will rule over Wakanda. Ketema is wearing a full-body Black Panther costume, keeping his identity a secret. However, it's made clear that T'Challa is his father, and we're assuming it's by blood. We flash back to T'Challa's marriage to Storm and Monica Lynn, with Monica shown to be pregnant with a boy. The tribal challenge between T'Challa and Ketema continues until the boy finally gets the upper hand on his father. Ketema stands above the bloody T'Challa and takes off his mask to reveal that he's a white male with blonde hair. What? Obviously, this is a pretty big development for the king of an African nation. Is Monica Lynn Ketema's mother? Is T'Challa his biological father? The finale of Marvel Knights The World to Come #1 opens up several questions. It's worth pointing out that when we flash back to T'Challa returning to Monica to propose in the rain, she ditches her significant other at the time, who appears to be a white male, to accept T'Challa's proposal. Perhaps he is secretly Ketema's father, but T'Challa helped raise the boy as if he were his own. Kind of interesting. However, Ketema clearly has resentment towards T'Challa. He mentions being raised by the clerics of Wakanda, possibly since the king of Wakanda couldn't be seen raising a white child. T'Challa also calls Ketema his only son, but the cover of Marvel's Knights The World to Come #3 shows T'Challa standing with a black boy and a white boy, signifying that they are both meant to be his sons. It's a lot to digest, which makes reading each future chapter all the more appealing. The death of T'Challa kickstarts Wakanda's downfall as the race starts to attain the previous metal, vibranium. Marvel teases that heroes, villains, and mutants will all have a role to play, with the winner of the tribal combat ushering in the world to come. So obviously that is wild as fuck. Okay, that's a lot. couple things we got to talk about here. Couple things we got to get into here. Now, Christopher Priest, for those of you that are not initiated, an absolutely incredible writer. He is a black man, and he has had a lot of comments throughout his history that I guess you would say sort of oppose maybe what you would think of a famous black writer saying. Like, I don't know exactly how to say this, but like one thing that comes to mind was, you know, Priest had this comment one time, I think it was in an interview, and, you know, he's basically asked about like writing more black characters or whatnot, and he kind of had this comment where he said, why do I have to write the black characters? Like, what's the deal with that? I want to write Batman, I want to write Superman, etc. In fact, let's find the quote. Let me find this quote for you. Very, very famous. Quite interesting. The other thing that's interesting about Christopher Priest is he has created other versions. Okay, here's the quote here. He expressed this. I don't want to be a black writer. When did I become a black writer? I used to be a guy who would write Spider-Man, Deadpool, and Batman. Why am I no longer qualified to write those characters? Now, at the time, you know, look, the world's topsy-turvy. People feel different about this sort of shit, but we also know that this stuff ebbs and flows. And there was a moment, you know, where it did sort of feel like there was this pressure being applied to Chris to say, like, you've got to handle the black characters. And that goes both ways, because they would say stuff like the white characters or the white writers shouldn't be doing the black characters, etc. And, like, I've always thought all of that stuff was so silly. And I think Christopher Priest views it the same way, right? So, like, that's a famous comment he made. He also said, a writer writes. Tom Clancy, rest his soul, could write anything. A writer writes. You don't have to become a master of your particular universe. Once you master this universe, then you sit down and start writing about it. He's talking about the real world, right? So Christopher Priest has some interesting ideas. He's vocalized some interesting opinions about this whole concept of identity and how that gatekeeps the writer, which, again, I've always thought was kind of a silly idea. Christopher Priest also wrote a white half-brother of T'Challa who became the White Wolf. Remember when they referred to Bucky Barnes as the White Wolf? Well, White Wolf is a character in Marvel Comics, a white brother to T'Challa. Actually goes through some similar things here where, like, Kedema resents T'Challa because he was raised away from everybody. And you can imagine being in a pretty much all-black African nation as a white person would probably be isolating. You know, you probably wouldn't be accepted, et cetera, et cetera. So Christopher Priest is no stranger to that. Christopher Priest also wrote a character that was a half-Jewish, half-black man from Harlem who actually takes the mantle of Black Panther for a time as well. So I say all that to say that, like, this isn't completely out of left fucking field for Christopher Priest. If you understand Christopher Priest, who, again, black man, incredible writer, comic book royalty, in my opinion, one of the greatest writers to ever touch the medium, has decided to give T'Challa a white son. And it's like, if you look at his sort of comments from the past, his philosophy on these things, even his writing itself, I don't think it's actually that shocking. However, let's be real. This is shocking, dude. Because all that shit I just told you about Christopher Priest, normies don't know that. Normies don't know that. But you know what normies do know? Normies know about the meme. Okay? Normies know about the meme of Gosling being the Black Panther. Normies know about this sort of weird pushback thing to, a lot of people are down with race bending and gender bending and all this sort of stuff. And then you'd get this pushback from certain people of like, oh, well, if it's just a character and you can race bend, what about white Black Panther? And it seemed so fucking absurd. You know what I mean? It was one of those things like, come on, bro. Like, what are we doing here? And also want to be clear here. Christopher has not talked about this publicly. At least I could not find any comments that he made publicly about this, right? And I can't wait. I'm actually really interested. I want to know what his thought process is. I want to know why he did it. I'm fascinated. This is something that's making major waves. And it's quite interesting, and I wonder if there's like a timing to this or whatever. But I got to tell you, Chris is probably the only person that could get away with this. You know what I mean? Like, imagine a white writer pitching this idea. You know what I mean? Like to Marvel or whatever. Yeah, that's probably not going to fly. But the fact that it's Chris, you know what I mean? It kind of like allowed him. Like, what are they going to say? You know what I mean? Like, what are they going to say to him? It's a fascinating. I find it to be pretty humorous. I think Chris is getting the last laugh. I think he's totally. Look, I don't know him, but he strikes me as a person that's completely comfortable with who he is, what the world is. You know what I mean? I think writers have a sort of built-in empathy because you get into other people's heads and skin. Like, that's what a good writer does. So, you know, it kind of reminds me of like Dwight McDuffie, who also had some really interesting thoughts. Aaron McGruber, the creator of Boondocks. You know, you'll have black folks are not a monolith. You know what I mean? And so you have a lot of different thinkers. I mean, look at Thomas Sowell. You know what I mean? Like one of the foundational conservative writers. You know, a black man, right? So it's like, you know, black folks are not a monolith, and yet we exist at a time where I think maybe it's just because of like social media, but things do get presented to us, and I think analyzed as though people like are kind of a monolith. And so this is like, with that framing, I think this is one of the wildest things I've ever seen in comics. And it's I'm just really interested. I mean, frankly, it makes me want to read the shit. You know what I mean? Like, it makes me want to read the shit. And so I wanted to bring it up. I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to kind of try to explain it. And then, of course, I think there'll be a lot of questions, comments, concerns. You know, Dr. Umar's not going to like this shit. Like, let's be real. Dr. Umar's not going to be into this. And then the question becomes, who's the mom? Is it an actual biological son? What's going on with the genes, dude? You know what I mean? Like, genetics are weird. Like, not to say that this can't happen. And there are examples, but damn, he looks real white. Like, real white. So, yeah, kind of fascinating, kind of interesting. I wonder what Goss thinks about it. Like, is the Goss like, is Gosling like? Because look, man, I said this last night on our members stream, and I don't know, you know, like, it's one of those things. Maybe I'll get canceled for saying this or whatever, but I'll just tell you this. You know, people aren't a monolith, but I actually can speak for all white people. Like that, you know what I mean? Like, I know it kind of contradicts what I just said about like people or whatever, but I actually speak for the trees. Like, I can speak for the white people. We all want to be Black Panther. We can't admit it. Like, we can't admit it, and it probably sound like sus or whatever. But like, I'll give you an example. So when I lived in Philly, some of my black friends called me Black Bear. To this day, I don't fully understand it. You know what I mean? But like, you know, my one friend Calvin would be like, Black Bear. You know what I mean? And there's nothing like getting that nod from black folks. If black folks refer to you as black in any kind of a way, it just feels so fucking good, man. It's one of the most, it just feels good. Do you understand? So, we all secretly want to be called black by the black community. And Black Panther's pretty fucking close. You know what I mean? So, this is a crazy, hilarious, interesting, controversial topic. And man, I'm fast. I'm picking this book up. I'm gonna read this fucking book now. You know what I mean? So crazy times in a world where you know, a lot of the time we feel like we have to walk on eggshells, or we feel like we can't openly talk about certain things without being misinterpreted or whatever. You know, Anthony Mackie actually had some really interesting comments about this back in the day, where he said he felt like white people didn't have a space to really ask and talk about black culture. That like, if we were to ask certain questions, if we were to really like let our curiosities be satiated, it would be misinterpreted, and it could be used against us or weaponized or whatever. And I remember when Mackie said that, I was like, damn, like, he's kind of right. And so we live in a world where it feels like there's all these constraints and everything's like, oh, it's so tense and it's all so serious. And at the same time, I think there's just a lot of real motherfuckers that are, with any kind of identity or any kind of thing. And we're just like, no, like, break that down, deconstruct that. Like, there is no monolith. Like, you can't, like, you can ask me white people shit. Like, it's not a big deal, right? So there you have it. Maybe the last show we'll ever do. Am I canceled now, chat? You let me know. I'm fascinated by this. I want to know, Ketema. And also, too, is Ketema going to be the like, because Halloween, you know what I mean? Like, Halloween. How many Ketemas? You know what I mean? Like, how many Katamas? What is his name? How many white Black Panthers are we going to see? By the way, I'm not even kidding. I've seen white kids dress up as Black Panther before. Have y'all seen that before? I thought it was beautiful. I've literally seen that before. So, yeah, interesting times, interesting things going on. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts on it, let me know in the Q&A section. We'll get into it then, okay? Now, next topic here. Let's talk about Star Wars. So, according to THR yesterday, which this did drop when we were on stream, and I know some of you guys brought it up to me. We sort of skimmed it. It was a huge article, sprawling, very dense, felt like a lot of Hollywood goobly glob talk. However, within that discussion, there was an interesting update as far as the future of Star Wars. Now, we know that Kathy Kennedy is retiring. Not from making movies. She'll die making movies, motherfucker. Don't you forget. But she is retiring from being the president of Lucasfilm. Okay, this come out as a big thing, obviously. And there's a lot of rumors around it. A lot of rumors surrounding it. A lot of questions, tension, drama with regards to this. And to be completely fair, like I'm gonna tell you, Jeff Snyder had this right, in his newsletter when he broke this down. I also think, by the way, that not Justin, but Filoni, what's the guy's name? Matt Bellany, I think is how you say his name. He had it right too when he first scooped this on Puck about her retiring. I think he was accurate, dude. Like, Kathy's playing a sort of game of messaging, framing, PR, but those two guys were I think spot on their reporting. So one of the things that was interesting, I think Jeff said it could be Favreau at the time. He was like, yeah, it could be Favreau. I don't think so. I think it'd probably be more I remember because Jeff said it probably wasn't going to be Favreau. And the reason Jeff cited was because Favreau makes more money to make a movie than James Gunn is getting paid to run the entire studio. So, it's a little like the RDJ thing where you have these like legacy contracts that kind of build up over time. Johnny Favs is like a fucking legend, and at this point, if you want Johnny Favs to make a movie, you're going to pay him primo numbers, okay? And so, from that perspective, I think Jeff said he did not see John stepping away from that to do more work for less money and more headaches and, run the studio. So, at the time, Jeff said he thought it would probably be Carrie Beck and Dave Filoni. So credit to Jeff. It appears that he was onto something. Maybe he heard something. He framed it in an interesting way. But yeah, he had this early on. Now, I also got to say, man, there's this other side of this too, where I had a source reach out to me. Very good source. You guys will recall I did that big video, ton of scoops about Ahsoka season 2. I talked about the Darth Maul show, and this was before Celebration. A lot of the shit that I talked about proved to be correct. So this is a very good source. And what that source told me was John is not doing the shit because he does not like Kathy. And he is not liking what is going on there. And whenever his contract is over, he is gone. Okay? So he's not just not going to help run Lucasfilm. He's probably gone from Star Wars within the next couple of years, So that also appears to be true because yesterday THR basically, they don't talk about Favreau at all, right? So here's what they say here. Dave Filoni is reportedly a top candidate to co-run Star Wars after Kathleen Kennedy leaves. Current thinking is that he'd co-head Lucasfilm with executive Carrie Beck. Okay. Some worry he's too steeped in Star Wars lore. Imagine that being like a negative or whatever. Risking the brand losing broader audiences. One Disney insider said he's not the Andor guy, he's the Ahsoka guy. So let me just ask you guys, okay, straight up. Okay, straight up. Doesn't this feel like the Civil War comments? Doesn't this feel like the overhaul thing? Doesn't this feel like what I've been telling you for months and months and months? So THR reaches out to insiders, and the insiders are saying he's too steeped in Star Wars lore. Imagine the chief creative officer, the protege of George Lucas, and the next co-president, and insiders within that exact studio are saying we're worried that he's too steeped in Star Wars lore. Unbelievable. Risking brand losing broader audiences. What does that sound like to you, chat? That sounds like exactly what I've been talking about. That is the divide. One Disney insider said he's not the Andor guy, he's the Ahsoka guy. Okay, we're doing this. Can't you see what's happening here? The corporation, the suits, and I think, frankly, Kathy, view Star Wars as an asset, a thing within the cupboard of the Walt Disney Company, and a thing that needs to justify being in said cabinet. And the way they view that is completely through an audience, business, corporate suit lens. Okay? And I think a lot of people at Star Wars misunderstand Star Wars, misunderstand the appeal, and misunderstand the branding, the numbers, and everything like that, okay? So I think what you're seeing here is a battle for the heart of Star Wars, and I think the reporting around this kind of indicates that that is what is going on. Now, I do wonder if at all this is being reported to sort of hurt Dave's chances. Remember that the Hollywood trades will often put things out into the world, and it's useful for the studios to see how the fans respond to this. So I think what they're looking for, frankly, is a whole bunch of people to retweet this and say, I like Andor. Dave is not the guy. He should not be the guy. And I think that could be part of what is going on. Okay? However, the other side of this is that they don't have anybody else, dude. Because there's been so much damage done to the brand and there's so much drama. I can't imagine an outsider wanting to come in and handle this, right? Who even wants this job? I don't think Kathy wants this job, and we've had reporting to suggest that she wanted out a while ago, but there's nobody to do the job. Right? So ultimately, you know, the failures have sort of piled up to the point that I don't think they have any other options, dude. I don't think they have any other options. Now, Carrie Beck is an interesting piece to this. I don't know a lot about Carrie. Just going to be honest with you, okay? I don't know a ton about her, but I do know she's worked closely with Dave on many shows. Okay? I think she was a part of the story group when it was a thing. But I know for sure that Carrie Beck helped out with a lot of, like, Rebels. She helped out with some Clone Wars stuff. She helped out with the Tales series. She's worked a lot with Dave. And I'd love to maybe we got to go looking. Maybe we got to go find some quotes and figure out how she feels about, like, George's stuff. You know, all of that. This article, which came out yesterday, the vast majority of fans that have commented on this are feeling as though there's no change that will happen. Did you see this out there, guys? Did you see this response? A lot of fans are saying, okay, Carrie Beck and Dave Filoni, there will be no change if this happens. And I will even admit, when I first heard about this, which it did come from Jeff's reporting, I did not like it. Carrie feels like a very corporate, safe, sort of businessy Disney pick. And it's possible that, like, with Carrie there and with Kathy hovering, it kind of, like, I didn't know how much change could actually happen. I don't know that Dave would get his way. You know what I mean? Vetoed by potentially Carrie and Kathy still there. You know, that's a bad situation. Okay? And so I totally understand that a lot of people view this move and they're like, no change will happen. Okay? But I'm going to tell you, I don't feel that way. Part of the reason I don't feel that way is the language used here. The fact that there's an effort from the insiders to paint Dave in a negative light suggests to me that what Dave wants to do does not align with what they want to do. Are you picking up what I'm setting down? If it were all hunky-dory, if he was just going to play ball, why would you need these comments? Why would you need this narrative out there? Okay? On top of that, if you consider what I've been reporting to you, which is that there are two camps within Lucasfilm. One, Kathy's camp that wants to treat it like a corporate product. You know, Andor itself is essentially like, how do we change Star Wars to give it more mass appeal? That's literally what we're talking about here. That's corporate speak. You might like Andor, but you must admit, if you're being honest, that its creation is the genesis of that idea comes from, let's fundamentally change Star Wars to give it more appeal in this particular demographic. Okay? Can we all admit that in good faith? That's what it was. Again, you might like it. You might agree with that as a move. You might think, of course, that's what Star Wars needs to do. But that's what it is. We have to admit that. Okay? I don't like that because I don't think Star Wars was ever necessarily trying to be this thing that connected with people. It was a thing that connected with people. It had a quality that brought people to it. They didn't, I guess what I'm trying to say is this. They didn't spend $4 billion on Star Wars because they thought they could turn it into something with mass appeal. They paid $4 billion for Star Wars because it had mass appeal. They themselves, in a similar boat to Marvel, has actually squandered that a little bit. The state of Star Wars now is at least, I would say 50-50, maybe more, Kathy's fault. Maybe Disney's fault. You know, the suits. Not letting Michael Arndt cook with the scripts. Having Ryan begin his movie before the first JJ movie was completed. Firing Colin Trevorrow, like all of these things. Like, dude, the state of Star Wars is rocky and shaky now because of what they've done. It was literally better when they first bought it. Look at the sales, Force Awakens, etc. Okay, so to me, I look at this story. I look at the comments made by David Celebration. I look at the comments that my source told me, and then I look at the reporting here, and I'm actually encouraged. I actually think this could point to some serious changes going on. And as I continue to say to you guys, the big thing that will decide this is once she is out of that office, officially out, what happens? Because, yes, she's claiming right now she will linger. She's claiming she will produce. She's claiming she will be there, hovering over everybody, which sounds very similar to Bob Iger and Bob Chapek, which Iger never even moved out of his big office. It's like crazy, right? So, just given everything that I've heard, I'm still hopeful that big change happens. And I'm still hopeful that it happens through Dave, and I'm still hopeful that it will happen when she steps down. Right? So the more I talked about this, man, the more I thought about it. Because yesterday I was like, oh, it's kind of a nothing burger. But then I looked at the language used here. And I'm like, man, it's so interesting how they're like trying to take shots at Dave in the Hollywood trades. He's the guy. And yet they're trying to besmirch him. Like, what's that about? And the more I thought about it within the context of everything we've been discussing, I'm actually optimistic. I'm optimistic. So we'll see. We're going to find out, chat, and we're going to find out together. And I just want to give you an angle on this because I know a lot of people are saying it's doom and gloom. A lot of people are saying it doesn't really matter. It's not going to change anything, et cetera, et cetera. I feel differently. I feel like there is hope. So there you have it. Okay. Only a couple other smaller stories. We'll rapid fire off some smaller shit, and then we'll get into Q&A here. Here's one. I think we have our Speed or Tommy Maximoff here. This dude, dude, come on, man. What's up with these names? Don't they know I can't do names, dude? What is this name? Rurid Malika? Has reportedly been cast as Tommy Maximoff / Speed in the Vision Quest show. So we've been kind of curious about this. Technically, Deadline had him in the show a long time ago. They didn't confirm that he was Tommy. Daniel's now confirming that he's Tommy. I'm not familiar with this guy. Anybody familiar with this guy? Anybody familiar with this guy? I mean, he looks like Tommy. You know, that's about all I could go off of. I haven't really seen him in anything. Don't really know. I know Tommy's a big character for Marvel moving forward. They want to do some Children's Crusade stuff. He's obviously a mutant, and that'll probably be a big deal as we move into the mutant saga. So, yeah, it seems good. One other small note on this. What was the guy? Who's the guy that plays his brother? I forget the guy who plays his brother, but that kid recently came out and said he sold his whole life away when he did the Marvel contract. He has a long contract with Marvel. And so I think whatever they're cooking with Billy and Tommy, it's long range, dude. Like, we're talking years. So kind of interesting there. You know, the Vision show I'm still pretty iffy on. Although Agatha was shockingly good. Better than Daredevil. Can't believe it. So maybe I'll give it a shot when it officially comes out. So there you go. Little update there. I also wanted to show you guys. Did y'all watch the reveal of that 2D fighter? Oh, man. Well, first of all, there's this. Let me show you this, okay? So we actually talked about this before, but there's like this thing here, dude. This looks badass. Reminds me of the old Turtles games. 15 different playable characters. Storm, Phyla-Vell, you got Venom and Cap there, Wolverine, Spidey, Nova's in this thing. So this looks really cool, and I'm excited for that. But then, yesterday, we had this trailer announced. So I'm not super familiar with Arc System Works. What are the other fighting games that they have done? What are the other games? Because I'm not super familiar. I'm not like a big fighting game person. All I know for sure is I watched some people talking about this, right? And they're big fighting game peoples. They were blown away. When this logo came up, they were like, what? Oh, they did DB Fighters? No way. Oh, and they did Guilty Gear and shit like that? Oh, dude, Fighters was like the best fighting game for years for a little while. Woo! That's crazy. Pretty wild. And then you get the Marvel characters kind of popping up, and then they reveal it's Marvel Games. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't love the art style. Okay? I don't know. I mean, I get it. They're doing Ultraman over here for Iron Man. Totally get it. You got to, like, I just don't like this jacket for Cap, man. I feel like the jacket's too much. But the gameplay itself, clean. Look at this, dude. And it's a 4v4 tag team fighter. And it just looks clean, crispy. These dodge things are really crazy. I'll show you some Doctor Doom here in a second, too. The dodge with Doom is insane. Star-Lord doing his thing. Ghost Rider's in this thing, too. I saw some cool images of Ghost Rider. Yep, there he is. Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider doing Ghost Rider shit. Ghost Rider doing Ghost Rider shit. Here he is. Doom, baby. Oh, hell yeah. Uh-oh, Storm? What's she doing? Besides looking thick. Oh my god, she's beating that ass. No! Okay. This looks crazy, dude. Holy. Yeah, this looks pretty good. Oh my god, he's Hulk busting? Doom and the Doombots? That's cool, man. So this really blew people away yesterday, and it's jumped up. Like, I'm telling you, like, super big impressions on social media. Like, people are really talking about it. So, yeah, Steam, Epic Game Store. It's gonna be on PlayStation and PC. Kind of fascinating, but people were just really, really into it. And again, I saw Doom's in there. I gotta get it now. I was really on the fence. I saw Doom, had to get it. So there you go. Just a couple of smaller stories there at the end. There's definitely some really cool stuff going on in the nerdy world. As a reminder, tomorrow we will be live at 4:30, 4:45, and we will react to what's it called? Summer Game Fest. Summer Game Fest. Maybe even more dope Marvel games out there. Very interesting. Okay. Let's get into the Q&A, ladies and gentlemen. I'll get over any kind of members chats, super chats, chats. What are you thinking? We'll get into it today. Braden Thompson says with a $2 holla, 50K subs. Woo! Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Hit 50K. I don't really push for subscribers like I should. I probably should push more. But hell yeah, it's cool to get to 50K. Kaylin J says, is Reed using the Cosmic Control Rod in the F4 trailer? This could be an Easter egg for the Negative Zone and Annihilus. I don't think so, brother. I think that's something else. Yeah, I think it's something else. But I like where your head's at. One must wonder, what will Reed discover about the universe in these next couple of movies that will carry into the next saga? Because I think Reed and the FF will remain a big part of it going into the next saga. I think that's a part of why they spent so much time casting that particular group, because I think they're a big part of what's going on. Trev says, I think Superman pre-ticket sales start June 12th. What happens if it's bigger than FF? I don't care one way or the other, mind you. I mean, if it's bigger than the FF, then we're off to the races, man. I mean, you know, as I've said before, I think there's a lot of data to suggest that Superman is doing very well. I do think the stakes are higher for Superman. And I think there's obviously there's stuff that Superman has to deal with that maybe Marvel doesn't have to deal with. Like, a lot of people just checked out on DC. Some apathy towards maybe Superman himself as a character. So, yeah, we'll just see. But, like, dude, if we see that, I mean, dude, it's not like I'm going to hide. You know what I mean? Not like I'm going to pretend that didn't happen. Rossi, thank you for the rose. RJ Philo with a 10 spot. Appreciate you, brother. That's very generous. Says, hey, Josh, today is my birthday. I just realized that I share it with KK. Gross. Anyway, thank you for the community and all that you do. Nerve Avengers for life. Well, happy birthday, man. Woo! Happy birthday. We get some happy birthdays in the chat for RJ Phila. Hope it's a good one, man. What are you getting for your birthday? What do you want for your birthday? What do you want, brother? Finto182 says, congrats on 50K subs on this channel, dude. Oh, appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. BP Kinraid says, random. I know, but after years away from the models, finally decided to collect Custodies Shadow Keepers. Would love to play with you one day, Josh. Oh, that would be sick, dude. And I like the Shadow Keepers, too. I have some Shadow Keepers things. In fact, randomly, I have a Shadow Keepers Trajan Valoris on my desk. Look at that. Oh, shit. Not focused well. But yeah, like, dude, Shadow Keepers are great. Shadow Keepers are so cool. So, yeah, welcome back to the hobby, man. Cool Bear says, love you, Josh. Hope the fam is great. 50K. Oh, hell yeah. No, fam's good, man. This weekend, Liam's going down to Grammys again, so that'll be nice. There's, I got some stuff to do over the weekend, but I'm looking forward to spending a little time with Elisa without Liam. Because, like, dude, he's in this stage now where he's talking up a storm, trying to do everything around, and he has this uncanny ability to do the most unsafe thing possible in a room. It's a talent, you know? Like, toddlers are not great at a lot of things, but one thing they're very good at is they get into a room and they can instantly figure out the most dangerous thing that they can do in that room. It's kind of wild. John Johnson says, Keanu for White Panther or bust. Nerd Vengeance for life. Yeah, why not? I mean, I think they do it just do it with Goss at this point for the memes. Space Tricks, the Night Primarch. Oh, you changed your name. The Culture Wars response to the White Panther will be more entertaining than the last 8 Marvel movies. Also, you need to get into Naruto. Goated show. My best friend, who I'm going to be playing Warhammer with tonight, he loves Naruto. He's tried to get me into it a couple of times. I don't know. It never really did it for me. Although some of the like later stuff with when he becomes the Hokage or whatever, and he taps into like, because there's like the Nine Tails power. Doesn't he tap into something crazier than the Nine Tails at one point? That stuff was really cool. I was like, oh damn, that's really cool. But yeah, I don't know. For whatever reason, I just never fully connected with it. Vora says, hey man, watched Brave New World the other day, and the problem I think is no one cares about Mackie as Cap. He's not a leading man. Hope you are well, bro. Yeah, we talked about this a little bit with Mackie. It does seem like he lacks a certain charisma or aura, as the kids say. You know what I mean? Just didn't have the aura that Evans had as Cap, right? And sure, like I think that's a problem. I obviously think the movie could have been much better too. Like I thought the movie was goobly glob, but you know, it could well be the case that like, yeah, people just weren't feeling it in that sense, you know. Vandolph the Black with a 10 spot. Appreciate you, brother. That's generous. Andor is the story of the rebellion, and that's it. The story was told. It's evident that the rest of Star Wars is mythos, but Andor covers the time the Jedi were gone. Andor fans underestimate that. That's kind of an interesting point. Yeah, I mean, you know, frankly, I can't speak too much to Andor just because, like, I haven't watched it, right? I think I watched, like, 5 or 6 episodes in Season 1 and 0. I've watched 0 episodes of Season 2, right? So I can't really speak on it with any sort of authority. But what you're saying makes sense. You know what I mean? It absolutely makes sense. To me, it would be like doing a Harry Potter show without magic. Or, like, it would be like doing Lord of the Rings without any wizards or shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not fan service to do the thing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to explain this shit, dude. Like, Star Wars is the Force and Jedi and Sith. And also, every other big franchise wishes they had something as cool as a lightsaber. Every other franchise wishes they had something as cool as a Jedi. You say the word Jedi, it means something to, like, everybody. You know what I mean? So why would you not utilize that? Like, it just feels so absurd. Now, I could see, you know, from the perspective of Andor, right? You think about the business side of things. Sure, you know, a lot of elevated genre, as we call it, which we watched this like great video where this guy was like talking about elevated genre. And I kind of agreed with his premise that like, you know, the Hollywood thing is like, let's elevate this or change this or put our stamp on it. And you don't always need to do that. However, sure, some elevated genre has been doing really, really well over the past even 10 years. You could argue that Game of Thrones is elevated genre because it's not true fantasy, right? And I think one of the things that made George's stuff really pop was like all of the characters are morally gray. There's shocks, surprises, people betray each other, people fall in love. Like it was elevated in that sense. So I understand the desire to do that, but it's just like some things don't fit within certain franchises. And to me, you can't do a non-mythic, non-adventure Star Wars. That's not Star Wars. To me. Appreciate you. Watch those wrist rockets. Says, hot take, Andor made the Star Wars brand worse. I mean, I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. And I know that's like, it would probably be so irritating to hear that if you really like Andor. But I would say this. I think if you ask a lot of the people that really like Andor, first of all, ask them if they like the prequels. I bet a lot of them don't. And that does matter. Second of all, ask them what's their favorite Star Wars movie. If they're the kind of people that only like Empire, then I'm sorry, you're not really a Star Wars fan. You like some Star Wars. That's not a fan. That's not somebody that was like going to conventions, spending a bunch of money on all this merchandise. That's not a fanatic. The word fan is short for fanatic. Right? So, like, that's fine, but let's just call a spade a spade. If you were sort of okay with Star Wars, and the thing you like in Star Wars is this show, which is the most different from all of the core Star Wars, which made it have a $4 billion plus evaluation from Disney, then you are not actually a Star Wars fan. Like, do you see what I'm saying? So I agree with you, man. And I think it did make the brand worse, mostly because it created brand dilution. But Brian Namek, thanks for coming back as a member. 17 months. Appreciate it, brother. And then Kyber Sith says with a $20 holla, says, hope you've been having an awesome week, brother. Thank you again for the hard work, sweaty work you put in. You are like my daily news for real. Much love. Nerd Vengers for life. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. That's very generous and some very kind words that you have there. So thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Yeah. I'm feeling good. You know, the job's hard. There's a lot of stuff we're trying to do, but I feel good. I've got a supportive community. You know, we're obviously making some waves out there, getting some numbers and whatnot. So I feel good, and I've got a lot of things planned as well. A lot of things planned. So let's hang out, man. 5-10 more minutes. What's on your mind, chat? Anything else you want to go over before we get on out of here? Hey, how many of you guys are excited about Warhammer tonight at 8, man? Throw one into the chat. Are you excited? We're finally doing Warhammer on a stream. Let's go. Where's the ones? Where's all the... Hey, there's a couple. Just felt like riding. Says, do you think Doom will refer to himself in the third person? Yeah, I think so. Maybe not all the time, but I think so, yeah. Ah, yes. Ah, yes. Yeah, it's going to be cool, man. I'm so excited. New rules, new detachment. It'll be slow going because my buddy's going to have all new rules as well. I'm pretty sure he's going to play his Sisters of Battle. I don't think he said anything. Feige confirmed the ship of the post-credit scene is a different vessel. Nope, I read that. I know the comment you're referring to. He didn't confirm shit. He said he didn't know. He was being tricky. He's like, but I don't know if that's actually the same ship. He did not confirm anything. Good try. Justified said with a 5 spot, Star Wars isn't Star Wars anymore. Can't wait to give me copy, paste, and things about the janitor in the fourth realm of the Republic sector. Dog shit ass, punk ass Star Wars. Damn. Tell me how you really feel. Members or for everyone? It'll be up for everybody. I might unlist it once we're done. But, yeah, it'll be up for everybody. Yeah, it's going to be cool. Warhammer show, slow going. I'm shocked. Yeah, everything in Warhammer is a little slow. Yeah. Josh, am I crazy for saying I'm more excited for F4 than Superman? No. I mean, I'm more excited for F4 than Superman. Although my excitement for Superman has risen. So I am excited for Superman. I hope it's real good. Just felt like riding. Says I gotta catch this replay. Been working hella long hours. Nerd Vengers for life. Ah, man, that's tough. Yeah, I'm working a lot right now too. Just have a lot going on, but you know, I appreciate the support. You know, life takes people in different directions. Not everybody can always, you know, be here in the streams. Not everybody can remain a member. Totally get it. I appreciate the support. Could F4 actually make $1 billion? I think so. It's really going to depend on the word of mouth. It's going to depend, like, how hyped are people about this movie? Yeah. How do we keep hearing about how many tickets F4 has sold? I'm definitely excited for it, but I don't know to what extent the headlines are true. Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly what you're asking, but we know because they just started selling tickets. So like Fandango has that data, Regal has that data, the theaters have the data. They're partnered with the studios. So the studios are looking for that data. The whole industry wants you to know that Fantastic Four is popular and people are going to see that movie. The whole industry. You know what I mean? Oh, Kendall, I did see your DM. The thing is, I'm not ready to, I don't want to hire anybody else on until I have more revenue secured. But I do appreciate it. And I know you're good at shorts and whatnot. So yeah, we'll talk, man. We'll talk. A lot of, what did he say? A lot of irons in fire. Lots of irons in fire. I would burn the whole city down just to speak to her. I love that movie, dude. Felt like Radin says, one more, LOL. That collector's popcorn bucket, though. How much is that? And if I can't get one, I'm going to rage. Yeah, it's probably pretty pricey, man. I bet it's like 30, 40 bucks. And yes, it is crazy. It's so cool. I was glad that they're doing it for Cinemark as well. I thought maybe it was just going to be AMC or Regal, but it's at Cinemark. So I can get it. And I can probably get a couple. Should I get one and give it away? Maybe I should get an extra one and like do a giveaway or whatever, you know? Ism, I'm not sure that that's true, man, but I would like it. Yeah, I'd like it. Yeah. Yeah. Donate members and get extra entries. Yeah, something like that. We could do something like that. Something like that could be cool. What do you want the Doctor Doom bucket to look like? Probably just his big old head and the mask or whatever. You know what would be fun is like, so the Red Guardian one had the helmet and you could technically take it off and like wear it in the theater. That's kind of fun. What if there was a way to wear the Doom mask in the theater? That would be really cool. Yeah. Justified says, you know what? You know what I will tell you, Josh. Andor is a snooze fest. KK needs to make a better use of her time and go to Warhammer, and Star Wars should use the real shit again. No. You think Kathleen Kennedy would get hired on by Henry Cavill? You think Henry Cavill would bring Kathleen Kennedy on in any capacity? Come on, man. Hey, come on, man. I don't know what you're saying, but come on, man. You know? I mean, if that happens, I will know the simulation is real. You know what I mean? I'll be like, these fucking entities, dude. Like, this is crazy. They are really fucking with me. Like, they're really fucking with me. You might see a generational crash out if that happens. I'm going to be honest. Yeah. Yeah. KK plays the Dark Mechanicum. Ooh. I don't like it. Superman underwear popcorn bucket. Is there really an underwear popcorn bucket? That seems a little wild. That seems a little wild to me, man. Seems a little wild to me. Oh, I'm so excited to play Warhammer later. Oh, I can't wait, man. Oh, I can't wait. I'm so excited too because I get to play with Lionel Johnson. The Lion. Firstborn Primarch. Hell yeah. Oh, he's going to tear some shit up too. I better roll good. If I start rolling bad, I'm going to blame it on chat and I'm going to end the stream. I'm just going to be honest with you. What do I think about the Spearhead? You're talking about the new Tau shit? The new Tau shit is great, dude. And it's really good for people like you, Kendall, that are sort of newer to the hobby. Tau were so complicated before. At the start of 10th, I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, they need to have certain units that target other units to then have other units do better damage. I'm like, what is this? So the new Tau rules are great, actually. It's a good time. It's a good time to get into Warhammer, for sure. Yeah. Guy at the comic shop said I should start there. Yeah, that makes sense. That model. Just felt like rad and says, do you know how the movie membership work in ticket figures? Just curious. Oh, I have no idea, brother. I have no idea. Like, maybe there's a way that if you have that thing, you can make Fantastic Four one of your new... I have no idea. I don't know how any of that stuff works, to be honest. Is there a Warhammer game for PS5 or PC? Yeah, there's a lot of them. Space Marine 1, Space Marine 2. There's a whole bunch on PC. Like, I really like Rogue Trader. I think that's on consoles as well. Chaos Gate Demon Hunter. Great game. Bolt Gun. Dark Tide. There's a lot of games, man. Any of you guys get a Switch too? For real, though, have you cleaned your air filter? No. No, I have not. A little less hot today, though. I have the office door cracked so that the AC from the house gets in here, so we're a little more chill today. Did I ever play Injustice? Boss Logic has been teasing Injustice 3 with Doomsday Clock references. Whoa. Yeah, the poster's framed. Yeah, dude, Injustice was sick. That second game, even the first game, incredible story. The story was so good. And wasn't that either Tom Taylor or Tom King, who then went on to be a pretty impressive, comic book writer in other arenas? Yeah, that was a moment, dude. That was a moment when those games came out. The story's incredible. The fighting was really tight. The second game in particular, I loved it. Yo, who was y'all's mains in that? I liked Superman. I liked Green Arrow. Batman was crazy. Deathstroke was awesome. Black Adam was hard as nails in that game, dude. Wonder Woman was super annoying to play against. She was tough. Yeah, those were good, man. Josh, try reading one issue of Secret Wars every night before bed. Crazy dreams, bruh. Oh, I bet. Yeah. Oh, I bet. Yeah. Green Arrow was sick, dude. He had some really fun combos. Am I getting a Switch too? Not anytime soon. No. I'm good on that. I would get one of the handheld PC things before I would get a Switch 2 at this point. I'm just not that big of a Nintendo guy, man. You know what I'm saying? Whoa, this just came out. This is crazy. All right, one last thing. We're going to get out of here, but I want you to see this. This was in the Hollywood Reporter, dude. It says, yet one longtime financier says the 363 million figure isn't incorrect. And sources say DC and its parent could spend as much as 200 million on the global marketing campaign. What the fuck? Compare with the usual 150 for all audience summer temple? Wouldn't be surprised since Superman kicks off the gun era and needs to work at the box office. Either way, between the production budget and the marketing, certain to land in the $400 million club. Dude, even the Hollywood trades are starting to call bullshit on these numbers. That's crazy. I did not expect that. Interesting. Wow. It's from this article here. It says, would you pay... Bro, you got to see this. I kind of can't believe this is actually happening. Would you pay $400 million for this movie? This is bold. I might have to read this later. Wow. They're kind of calling the industry out a little bit here. You know, it's one of those things, though, because we talked a little bit about this yesterday, where there does appear to be this thing going on in Hollywood where they want to differentiate between the success of the actual box office and the success of the movie or the franchise. Kind of wild, you know? I guess what this article would suggest is that not everybody in Hollywood is just lockstep with that, which is probably good because it seems absurd to me. You know, even the other week when somebody was like, you know, I had somebody hit me up from Hollywood and be like, you're wrong about Thunderbolts. Everybody here thinks it's a success. I'm like, okay. Well, everybody there is wrong. It's not. I'm empathetic to it not being a complete failure and to redeeming qualities helping out in other ways, but like why? Like, I can't do that. I can't just like not make money and be like, it's fine. So why the fuck should Hollywood be able to do that? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't like it. UFC predictions. I actually do think is what's his face is O'Malley. Is he fighting this week? I think O'Malley gets it back. Actually, and he better, because if he doesn't, he might be cooked. You can't lose twice to the hottest dude in the division and continue to be a superstar. Like, it's not how that works. No chance? I see a chance. I'm so tired of Marab. He's an interesting cat for sure. He is strange for sure. A whiteboard stream coming up. Hopefully soon. Yeah. Okay, guys. Appreciate y'all, man. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so much for the love and the support. Remember, no stream at 11 tomorrow. We're going to stream around 4:30, 4:45 for Summer Game Fest, which starts at 5. That'll be kind of a more casual, chill-ass stream. Just checking out the fun games. I'll be able to talk about the game that I saw last week in New York City. Probably later in the show, to be honest. So we'll do that tomorrow. Tonight at 8 p.m., we're going to stream some Warhammer. Should have nerdy news rundown dropping for you guys tomorrow around noon, maybe around 1. So that'll be all good, and then we'll be back at it next week as well. So appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for being here. Much love. And as I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day. And I'll see you in the next video. Is everybody gone? Did everybody leave? Leave. Oh, man. Another happy landing. It was a fun one, man. I had fun. Some of the stuff, like, you can't take it too seriously. You know what I mean? I know a lot of the world does. That's their problem. You know what I mean? We're just here to nerd out and have fun. And I definitely had some fun today. So I hope you did too. I hope you did too. And we'll keep it going. We'll keep it rolling. Appreciate y'all once again. Make sure you have a good rest of your day. I'll see some of you guys at 8. Maybe a video come out later. And then either way, you'll have the nerdy news rundown tomorrow. And that's going to be cool too. All right. Appreciate y'all. Hey, do me one favor though. Huh? Do me one favor. Just one. Just a little favor. Actually, it's 2. Open up your third eye. And watch out, you're thinking about